Hey, welcome to the sit down. I'm your man, Rod Love. And boy, I tell you, we have a show for you this evening. Y'all know you're going to get the regular stuff. Me and my good friend, Doc Polite, kind of locking up, so to speak, but iron sharpens iron, so y'all can expect that. And then you got Sister Wynn sitting next to me, and I told Sister Wynn she gonna learn how to jump in and battle because if she doesn't, Doc and I will take all the time. But you know, Sister Wynn and Doc Polite, how y'all doing this evening?
I am doing well, Mr.
I am doing good.
Well,
How about yourself?
I'm complimenting you. What is this gonna be like 2 or 3 weeks in a row about his brim?
Yes.
You know, when it looked like Huggy Bear, I'm gonna call it Huggy Bear.
Listen, this is a classic style. My mom bought me this hat because this is the style of hat that my dad used to wear, and it's called a stingy brim. And here's why.
Stingy brim, huh?
Okay.
It's called a stingy brim.
I like that.
I'm gonna give it to you, Doc. 3, 4 weeks in a row, man. You pulling them out.
Well, they hanging up there. You know, I built me a thing on the wall in my room, and right now I'm at 25 hats. I gave some away.
Wow.
Well, you know,
but I ain't giving away no more. You know how family come over and say, "Oh, I like that."
No, I guess so far, Sister Wynn, there have been maybe 2 hats. And I mean, we all ain't gonna always get along. We're not gonna always like what one another like. So all in all, I think he's getting a good. He's back pretty good because there were 2 that I wouldn't wear them if you tied me up and glued them on my head. I wouldn't wear it.
Like, get this off.
Yeah, but hey, you've been spoken some real nice ones, Doc. I really like it.
I got my Fruit Loop hat over there on the other side of the room.
No, you keep that. Hey, but you know what? You know, for those of you who are tuned in, the Sit Down is a show that we like to talk about where you can go from here. We want to talk about advancement, and in talking about advancing, sometimes you have to be critical. Sometimes you got to employ that critical thinking, and sometimes you're not going to like what we say. Sometimes we don't like what we say to each other.
Yes. And not only that, we also talk about what's going on in the community, the different programs that's out there in the community.
You're right. And not just different programs that are out there, but we're going to be talking this evening about John Hope Bryant. Grew up in Compton.
Ooh.
And it's just a success story through and through. And we're going to be talking about some of the things that he's done. And y'all know what? If it was easy, everybody would be doing it. So what we're going to talk about here is not easy. You subject yourself to a platform of criticism, but you know what? You can't let that stuff stop.
Absolutely.
Well, you know, there's nothing wrong with disagreeing. And a lot of times disagreeing is, in fact, from a perspective. For many people, they disagree, but when I disagree with someone, I can tell them why. That's what kind of frustrates me in a lot of conversation. And you ask the person why, they say cause. Cause
That's
what?
not a reason. That's not a reason.
That's not a reason. You understand? If you cannot articulate your position, then maybe you shouldn't be having conversations.
But you know what? And I'm gonna say this because I really want us to jump into some things. But you know, nowadays, and Doc, Sister Wynn, I don't know if it's because the era that we're living in, where it's just so easy to have keyboard courage, so to speak, that civility is going out the window. You know, you know, we have people just saying whatever they want, but I tell you what, the truth still matters.
It does.
The truth still matters.
Well, you know, this weekend, well, last week, and I just want to bring this in for reference. And they were talking about this yesterday, how the CEO, y'all saw the story about the CEO who got caught with
Coldplay.
At the Coldplay concert. And the article was talking about how we have moved away from moral public judgment, and maybe this is something that may uh, make us go back and look at that,
You
because
said we moved away from what? What, Doc?
from socially moral judgment, and they made the point about, you know, condemning this kind of stuff because it destroys careers, it destroys families. You know,
Yeah.
the young lady who was caught on there with him had just purchased a $2 million house. Now she got fired. And from my understanding, from the article's point of view, she was the breadwinner. Now you've put everything in jeopardy. Both of these people had families. He lost his livelihood. She lost her livelihood. And, you know, the ethical uh, fallout from this, you know, we kind of expect people to cheat, and we've accepted that. I mean, look at the leadership in this country. You know, there are numerous. It's like some people get caught, some people get judged, and some don't. I remember what was the guy in Massachusetts? He got, not Massachusetts, Carolina, John Edwards. Remember him?
Mm-hmm.
And he got caught up in all of that. Well, he was summarily kind of just pushed out the scene because of that. But, you know, we have to get leadership that's different, okay? Whether right or wrong, we need leadership that's going to set a public face and a public standard. I don't know that, as harsh as what happened to the CEO and that young lady, if the public should have held the judgment, I can understand the company. It was not a look that they wanted for their company, but everybody else, I don't think it was our business in a lot of ways, but I can understand the moral condemnation, but we can't be selective about being moral.
Yeah.
Well, I think they made it our business when they were out in public, and
Yeah.
everybody saw it. So you're still going to have those trollers that's going to put their 2 cents in it. And, you know, their 2 cents might not, you know, they as an adult might not care, but you're out in the public.
Yeah, but the thing, you know what bothered me about it? The joy that people took in their pain.
We're seeing somebody fall.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what? In just the reverse, I want to just go ahead and do a strong segue that is the total opposite of seeing somebody fall. And I'm going back to John Hope Bryant. And, you know, we did the introduction and talked about, you know, him being from Compton. But, you know, just reading up on this guy is real interesting. When you read up and you see that this guy grew up in South Central, in the Los Angeles area, has a brother and a sister. But here's what's real interesting. And Doc, this is some of the information I got from you. Growing up in these challenging neighborhoods during the height of gang violence, we already know that. But here's the part that I had to reread it a couple of times. Also, growing up in the economic disinvestment shaped his understanding of systemic barriers. Disinvestment. Who uses that kind of language? I mean, so when you talk about disinvestment, you're talking about divesting investment into something. And so this guy immediately recognized it, and it talks about his entrepreneurial spirit from the age of 10.
That's all.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
You know, you take $10 from your mom and you start you start a business. Literally a business with
He had it in his
$10.
blood then.
Yeah, and then, you know, he says the defining moment was when a banker visited his school, and he wanted to know how do I follow that career path, and that started him on the path of his journey to success. And it begs to differ. You know, every time we see commentary about our communities, it's as if all the kids are struggling with being lost. And that's not the picture. Because many of the kids aren't lost, they're not being led.
Yeah, but think about what this guy said. He had a banker come to his to his school during the middle of the day. And this guy said, wait, my mom works an hourly job. And the fact that this guy also said, my mom gets 2 15-minute breaks. And on top of that, only time his mom came to the school is when he messed up. So I just think it's interesting when you look at the dynamics with this guy. And then what else he talked about? You come here once a week, whenever you like, with a beautiful car in the parking lot with tags on it. I mean, this guy understood a long time ago what it took. And you know what?
Yeah.
We had Eric Squaback call in last week, man. I mean, he brought some real powerful information to the show when he talked about just being there in the community, being there working with, I believe he was working out of the prison or the jail.
Yeah.
And it's a shame that when you look at population that, I mean, because don't get me wrong, there's some folk who need to be behind bars.
Absolutely.
But, you know, and I'm going to just go ahead and say this. I'm not a bleeding heart liberal by any means. But I look at what we invest in and I see that we don't concentrate our efforts on outcomes. You know, if you look at tourist development tax dollars, they use the tourist development tax dollars, and you better believe they're going to get a return on the investment, whether you're promoting tourism, whether you're looking at infrastructure development, whether you're recruiting more people to come to Central Florida for the attraction. There's outcomes attached to it.
Absolutely.
And then I look at what we deal with in human services. We get a call from government that want to meet. And you look at the rate that you get paid, and you sit back and say to yourself, why are we meeting so damn much?
There you go. Pennies on the dollar. That's what I say.
Pennies on the dollar.
Well, it's just like studies. I can't stand a study. How many times are you going to study the same material?
Yes.
You know, no. I need to do it. We need to do a what do you call it? EPA study about this, about pesticides. Okay, why do we need to keep doing pesticide studies?
But Doc, you know why, right? Though.
Yeah, it's money.
It's money.
Let me break something down that most Americans don't understand. I'm not picking on you, Miss Quee, but I want you to answer this question. When you hear on the news that we sent aid to Israel, and we sent them $35 million, right? Do in your mind, does that mean that we sent it to them, or we sent? Do you literally think that they get that money?
No.
Huh?
I think it's with that, it's over in products or some type of investment to make them, I would say, like meet their needs. That's the way I look at it.
Let me tell you how they do it. Let me tell you how they do it.
Okay.
They never send the money. They contract American companies to provide the manpower, materials to give them that stuff. So we're not literally sending that money to Israel. We are funding questions in the back. Then we have to understand where it goes.
I don't know how in the world we talking about John Hope Bryant and y'all keep going around the world.
Hey, he don't want us to pull off top, but jumping back to John Hope Brown. So I'm gonna pull the gentleman up here in a second. Just give me a second, because you know the man is huge on social media, and I followed him without really following and digging down into his career, because every time I saw him previously, it was more about being around certain groups like church groups or, you know, smaller groups and things like that. And a couple of weeks back, I got real curious and I started thinking, I'm like, wow, this guy is, you know, it's not just he has lived the American dream,
Mhm.
and he's not blaming the classical things that previous civil rights leaders have.
And that's
He's
what I love
about
about it. That's what I
he's
love
about
about it.
about self-empowerment, self-responsibility. Okay, understanding what your money means to you, and I can really get behind that because I think in the past the focus that we had did a disservice to us. This is Doc talking. This ain't Queen. This ain't Rod. I think what happened was we taught our community to be professional victims. We see victimhood in too many things instead of realizing that some people just bad people. They ain't got
And
nothing to do with
was
the
it
race.
because we became so dependent on everything that we look up? You get this for free, you get that for free.
Mhm.
Well,
I think
no,
so.
I think we like the idea of not being responsible for our own condition. And what I mean by that is when you can scapegoat somebody else and they're the reason for your failure, you acquiesce all the control that you think you have to them. It's their fault that you didn't go and finish, you don't have a good job, but you dropped out in the ninth grade.
So
It's
with that being the case, and Ms. Queen, I want to ask you this question too. With John Hope Bryant, one of the things that was very interesting
Mhm.
is somebody asked him what advice would he give his 18-year-old self. And this is something that I want to ask you the same question. I want to ask Doc the same question, but I'm going to give you the answer as to what John Hope Bryant gave to the person that asked him that question. He said he would tell his 18-year-old self, and keep in mind when the person asks you that question, you're responding from lessons learned.
Mhm.
He said he would tell his 18-year-old self, be strategic in your time,
Mhm.
and also don't let other people waste your time. And you know what? I think about that now. And I think about how the many conversations you can have about doing something with individuals. And, sometimes you might get like being that bait on the hook where they have you coming back. But there's a limit to how many times you'll go back and you're getting the same. What, Doc, we talk about the definition of insanity.
Mhm.
mhm. but
Continue to
some
do it.
but sometimes, you know, one thing about no is never definite until you're dead.
You got to keep drilling that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because no might be no right now,
Right now. Yeah.
but circumstances, situations can change that no into an opportunity for yes. This guy, when he founded Operation Hope in
Doing it right.
1992, in the middle of the LA riot, right? Rodney
Mhm.
King, he organized his first bankers bus tour. And what he did was got these bankers, put them on a bus, and the city was still on fire. And he rode them around and he talked to them. 26-year-old now, 26-year-old, this guy was. He rode them around and told him about the investment opportunities
Mhm.
that existed in those very same buildings that were burning out. And that's what we need to understand for ourselves. It's like and y'all have heard me say this, and I lived in Pine Hills, okay? And it used to frustrate me because I'd go down Pine Hills Road and over in the shopping center, I see trash all over there, trash hanging up in the fences and all of that stuff. And I would say nobody comes in our community and throw their trash down. This is us.
Mhm.
This is
You're right.
reflective of
You're right.
us and how we are willing to live and how we allow people to in our community to conduct themselves.
Mhm.
Why is it such a hard problem for us holding each other accountable? Is it I don't think it's just fear. I don't
But you
think
know,
it's
but
it,
John. I mean, Mr. Bryant had the courage to put those folk on that bus.
Yes,
Hey, and the
did.
people had to have courage to get on that, to get on hey, to get on that
Exactly.
bus.
Still on
Hey, the
Exactly.
city's still on fire. But just imagine this. Just imagine, because keep in mind, those people that got on the bus were bankers.
Mhm.
What color do bankers see? They see green.
Green.
They're
They see
green.
green. So
Green.
it was amazing for those bankers to see green
Mhm.
through buildings actually being on fire.
Right, because they know they got to rebuild it.
They know they got to rebuild. So
But this guy here did his
gotta jump in
homework.
this week, 'cause I want to see what you got to say too now.
Hey,
Yes. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
he had his homework done. He knew the economic viability of that community and what it could bring to the table. The
He was
amount of
prepared.
money that was in that community that was available. Okay. For and like Ross said, bankers got one color, that's green. They speak green. Okay. And they say it's like this: buy low, sell high. Okay.
Doc, do you know
What's-
how much money he actually had that went through Operation Hope?
How much?
$4.2 billion.
See? Now,
I'm just
Now-
still trying to see, how did he get the bankers on the bus? What was
he
the
went and talked to him.
the pitch to get them?
Well,
on?
Doc just said it. Doc just said it. He
I
went.
didn't
He go ahead, Doc.
Listen, people won't turn you down if you don't ask them. Then you don't give them a chance. A lot of people won't have these conversations. It's a case in point. I fall to the fault argument. Republicans won't do nothing for black people.
Mhm.
Have you went and talked to Republicans? No, they don't make that statement if it's not based in fact. See that,
You're
and that's
right.
what I'm talking about.
You're right.
Go and talk to them.
Mhm.
See where they are. Don't get in. See, we too involved in our feelings.
Mhm.
Okay. And we got to get more mature, emotionally mature as a people, because we will go to offense in a minute. We'd be offended in the drop of a dime.
Yeah.
Hey, he called me the N-word. So do you know who you are? Man, listen, I have had that thrown at me. It don't slow me down, because I know who I am.
Right. Right.
I know who I am. It doesn't matter what you say. It's what I believe and know about myself. Because a lot of times I can recognize it as you're trying to misdirect me. You're trying to get me off my game. That's psychological warfare. I'm not going to fall for that. We're not having these conversations, and we're assuming that the answer is no,
Right.
or a reason why they won't do it.
And you know, there's a motive though for, and you know, it's just something that you come to learn and understand. There's going to be some people that are going to be what they call diametrically opposed to anything that you have to say, no
Yep.
matter what.
Yeah.
Yep.
Even if it's on point. I mean, in point in case, I presented to a commission a few weeks back about third grade reading level, and it was one commissioner there that she just fought me tooth and nail, and I'm sitting back saying, here's an opportunity for children in communities that don't read at level. And the research says if these kids not reading that level by third grade, their trajectory in life goes down. And I mean, this is not just guessing. There's
Right,
research to say
right.
these kids more prone to drop out. These kids are more prone to go down a delinquency path, have child welfare calls. And this one commissioner, I was just blown away.
Where's your sound?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was blown away.
I think that goes back to what
I lost your
Doc had
sound.
said too,
I didn't do
with
anything.
the
You guys, I can't hear you.
people getting comfortable with receiving those welfares. You know, you got a check coming in every month, so okay, so I got a check coming in, I don't have to do anything. But that's where
y'all
we're
hear me?
paying our tax dollars for those welfares.
You're right.
You are able to get up every morning. You can get up and go to work somewhere. It don't have to be full time. Do it part time.
That's a simple conversation. Yeah, that's a simple conversation. Hey, brother Mondo, I know Doc said he lost sound, but if you're still getting it across the air, man, let us know. And you're gonna need to just let Doc know he lost his, but we're still good on this end.
Yeah, I mean, it is a simple conversation, but then when you sit down and try to have a conversation with someone that's on that level, they just give you every excuse and the book why they can't work.
But that's why when I look at Mr. John Hope Bryant, I look at all that he's done, and then I look back to the fact that we all identify culprits in this process. We identify what I would call areas that we like to place blame or fault. Maybe somebody's not preparing. Maybe somebody's not getting off their behind to go and be assertive. But there's another culprit that I've been identifying that's been one of the major problematic pieces to communities excelling and moving forward. And it's been right there in front of our face all along. And I mean, I don't hate to say this, I will say it, is that while we got all these obstacles to get around, one of the obstacles that we never really imagined would be a major obstacle and yet a culprit at the same time, and that's government.
Yeah.
That's government. And what I mean when I say that, and I mentioned it to you, I mean, there's an operations to take place. That's where the rubber meets the road, so to speak, where people are actually being served. But then we look on the other side of it and we see where government is putting all these obstacles in front of you, and people wonder not.
And just live life. So call in and tell us what your 18-year-old will say. 407
All right, can y'all hear me now?
6195. Yes, we can hear you, Doc.
All right, I can hear them now.
All right. So, Doc,
all right, sorry about that.
Can you make us
Difficulties,
screen bigger?
We had some technical difficulties.
No problem. We
Ms. Wynn,
already
can you
know
hear
how
me?
that is. Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Oh, you went out again. I can't hear you on my side.
Okay. So we are having technical difficulties.
Okay.
So
All right. So Armando, let Doc know it's the sound still coming across. He may not be coming across. We want to go ahead and keep moving. And Irv Simpson, who Irv is a good friend. Irv works in the Altamont Springs, Seminole County community. Irv is doing some great work, but it's people like Irv that are out there. He's working quietly.
okay.
And you know what? One of the things that I learned is, it's good to be humble. It's good to work behind the scenes. It's good to work quietly. But you know what? Now, to me, that's one of the biggest things that people take for granted. Irv is out there doing his thing. He's bringing organization. He's bringing people together,
Okay.
but because he's working so silently,
Mhm.
people don't people don't really. I mean, yeah, a lot of people know who Irv is. Irv is one of those Omega men too. But I think if people knew more about what Irv is doing, Irv will see more benefits, more opportunities. And I know Irv just put something, and Doc can't hear me, so he can't put me up on the screen. But I know Irv is talking about leadership, and he's talking about White House and the Capitol leadership and things of that nature. Um, man, it's one of them deals where we got to take some of the good with the bad.
Yes, we do.
You
Yes,
know,
we do. That's
it's
what makes the world go
you,
round.
you got you got good leadership and you got bad leadership. We just hope that the good leadership outweighs the bad.
Yes, yes, yes.
And,
I'm
and
hoping one day that will take place, Miss Love.
yeah, but
I
that's
think
why
we
we
have
got
to
to keep
hope
grinding.
alive.
No, I'm not going with that one. I'm not going with that one because and you know what?
And you know why I said that.
And I don't say this. I know why you said it. I don't say this. I don't say this to knock that person, but I've never been a fan of that person.
That's why I said it.
I've never been a fan of that person. But you're right. We have to continue to grind, and we got to continue to figure out how do we continue to build the bench too.
Yes, yes. And if Mr. Err would give me a call, maybe we can sit down and have a conversation on what you're doing.
What Irv is. I mean, he's knocking it out of the park. I mean,
Okay.
when you talk about Altamont Springs and when you talk about um, the work that's been taking place in the Altamont Springs area. Hey, Armando, can you let Doc know we don't need to do that? Go ahead, Miss Queen, and keep rolling. I mean,
Yes. So please bear with us. We're still working on the technical difficulties that we're having. So once again, if you are listening to us, please give me a call at 407 921 6195 and tell me what would your 18-year-old say to you today? What type of advice will they give you? Um, so give us a call at 407 921 6195. And we're still working on that
yeah. So
technical
we're good, but um, we just got to figure out, man. I mean, it's going to take some real hard discussion about how do we navigate. Um, and I hate to say it this way, when you look at good leadership and you look at bad leadership.
Mhm.
Right now is not the time for us to hit the pause button as we navigate and try to serve communities. We're dealing with some challenging times, and I mean, we have some individuals, or we have some organizations that have never been practitioners, and yet they're telling community-based organizations how to
How
operate.
to operate. Correct.
Unheard of.
That's the frustrating part of it. That's the frustrating part.
But it's gonna take a lot more of herbs to come out. Eric Swayback, who called in on the show
Mhm.
the other day, and you know what? Here's what I'd like to ask Herb. Um, Herb, the call in the show, because one of the things I like to find out from you, what advice would you give Herb, 18-year-old Herb? The number to the show is 407 921 6195. And that question applies to anybody. What advice would you give your 18-year-old self now about how to navigate just living in this world we're in
Life.
today?
Life is hard.
You know what? It's life has always been hard, though.
But I sit back and I look at some of the youth in the community, and they make it more harder than what it is. I always say if you go to school, do the right thing, pay attention, focus, that will get you ahead in life than try to be that little
Yeah, times are much different than because
You
Sister
know,
Wynn,
the knucklehead.
your mom and then you had a village around you at the time.
Yes, yes, yes. That does make a difference.
We don't so much as have that village that we used to have around us. But you're right. You know, life is seems like it's a lot tougher. We've opened up the world to the internet and everything
Yes,
else.
yes, yes,
Um,
yes, yes.
I don't
Just like
know.
Doc said, growing up, we didn't really have this. We had the phone to the wall.
Hmm.
So that was your communication. When you went outside, you didn't have this.
You know, the question is, what did we do when we didn't
When
have
we
it?
had, yeah,
You
I
know,
always say it.
let me ask you this question, Sister Wynn.
Mhm.
What would you tell your 18-year-old self?
Ooh, I would tell my 18, knowledge is power. Get as much knowledge as you can. Stop being so hard headed.
How do you tell an 18-year-old that though?
It's
Because you couldn't, you know, you say that's what you would tell your 18-year-old self. I don't even see
I would
how you would
I would,
listen to your 18-year-old self.
but I think I would listen to my parents more.
Mhm.
You know, your parents always tell you, "I want your life to be better than what mine's were,"
Mhm.
or have those different qualities, and it's almost like, yeah, right, yeah. But you don't realize that until you get older. You
Mhm.
hear them when they're telling you this, but at that age, you really don't focus on what they're telling you until you get a lot older. Then you say, now I see why.
But yeah, you're
he
right.
was
You're right.
telling me that.
You're right. But you know what? Think about this. And that's why that is the age that we say, what would you tell your
Mhm.
18-year-old self? Well,
Yeah.
we asked that question for a reason because girls mature at a much faster rate than boys. We already know that's research.
Yeah.
But if you're 18 chronologically, and let's say you're a boy, you're 18 or you're a young man
Mhm.
at that point in time, and
Mhm.
you're 18 years old chronologically, maturity wise,
No,
you
you're
might
not
still
there.
be 16.
Yes.
You
Yes.
know, so who you really
Yes.
listening to? And then for young ladies who are, you know what? I take that back. If you're 18 as a young man, you might have that maturity rate of a 15, 16-year-old thinking you're a
Thank
man.
you. You know everything.
So a young lady matures faster than males. So she might be 17, maturing at a rate of 17. And boy, when you have them go get them, what I call go get them females,
Mhm.
they might be 18, but maturity wise, they're at 21.
Yes. Well ahead.
They're ready to go
Hey, y'all hear
conquer
me?
the world.
Yes.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes. Yes. And I think right now with this generation, I would almost say it's almost like 50-40 with some of the young ladies that I see that are those go-getters.
Mm-hmm.
They have their, I always say, a vision board. And on that vision board, they have the things that they would like to accomplish.
You know what? It's interesting you
And-
say vision board. Because people don't,
All right, y'all.
people don't,
All right,
don't,
I'm back.
don't do that anymore.
I'm back. Can y'all hear
and
me?
it works. I
Can you hear
tell
me?
my granddaughter, which is getting ready to be in the 11th grade, do your vision board.
Mhm.
Where do you see yourself? Where do you see yourself while you're still in high school? Where do you see yourself after high school?
You're giving us some
Where
good
do you-
advice.
Where do you see yourself once you finish college?
Yeah.
Put your vision board up. And I always tell her, if you want a car, a house, put it on your board.
Mhm.
It doesn't necessarily have
got
to be
me?
material things.
Yeah.
Okay.
Put anything on here. And she's like, but Nana, I'm like,
But you,
try it.
but you're giving a good advice because you know it's one thing to ask a young person, where do you see yourself 5 years from now,
Mhm.
and they are articulating,
Mhm.
but they're grabbing from the air.
Right.
You got a vision board or you wrote something down, you can always
Mhm.
go back and
to
look at it.
Yes. Yes.
Hey Doc, you there?
Yeah. Bible
So-
says what? Write the vision.
Say that again.
What does the Bible say? Write the vision.
Oh, it will come to life.
Nope.
Don't be, why you be whispering? Why you,
The Bible says
Hey,
write
hey,
the vision and make it plain.
this thing about whispering. What the Bible say, Doc?
The Bible says write the vision and make it plain.
And make it
It
what?
tells you write the vision and make it plain.
Okay, okay.
But that's
Because
almost like doing on your vision board. You're not writing it,
well,
but you still
yeah,
have
but I'm
your.
saying it's a truism. That's where the
Put it
So
vision.
you can
Right.
see it, you can
Yeah.
visualize it.
Mhm.
You know, it's more tangible
Mhm.
when you can see or touch something
Mhm.
versus the conversation that's going back and forth. Hey, Doc, one of the things, and Doc, I don't know if you can put Irv's message up on the board, if you can kind of make us bigger or what have you.
We
But
talking about Herb the Marine?
Irv the Marine, that's who.
Man,
That's
no,
there.
I ain't studying that cat.
You know,
I
Irv the
ain't studying.
Marine.
I
But
ain't studying. I can't give him no shine.
you
No,
know, I was talking about Irv earlier, where Irv is talking about if we're going to question leadership, the leadership in the White House, the Capitol, and you know, he talks about it's the worst in American history. I ain't going to get into that, but what Irv is bringing to the table is this: the fact that we have to challenge leadership,
Mhm.
and if you know leadership, if there's no engagement of leadership,
Mhm.
then you're really throwing your hands up. And I was talking earlier. Irv has been a leader in the Altamont Springs community. Irv has been doing some things I wouldn't have never imagined that I would have seen. And my office has been in Altamont for the last 10 years or so, 10, 11 years.
Mhm.
And, you know, Irv is a real leader. I got to tell you, even though Doc and Irv, I don't know, one is Army and one is Marine.
Yeah.
I don't know why they have this.
So that Bible verse is Habakkuk 2:2. Write the vision and make it plain, that he may run who reads it. And what it's saying is, you can't have a plan without writing it down. It's not really a plan until you write it down, and that's because it's fleeting. See, when you write it down, you can't forget it.
Mhm.
When you write it down, you can refer to it.
Mhm.
When you write it down, you can measure it.
It's tangible. Yeah, you can measure it.
It's yeah. So all of those things go into doing it. This is why most people fail at New Year's resolution. I'm gonna lose weight. Well, they ain't got no plan. I'm gonna get married this year. They ain't got no plan.
Mhm.
So Doc, equate that to, and I mean, we got 4 minutes left on this. Equate that to young people preparing themselves, because if you say you want to be here or you want to be there in the next couple of years, you got to have a plan,
Right.
and you can't just pull that plan out of the air.
Correct.
Well, this goes back to something that we didn't talk about with John Hope Booth, and that is curiosity. See, curiosity is often a fuel. It fuels discovery. It can fuel your future, because this man asked this banker some questions. How can I legally get as rich as you? And the banker told him, well, I finance entrepreneurs. And he said from that moment forward, he wanted to know. And that's what we always tend to gloss over. You got to have that curiosity and that
So
desire.
Doc, are you so is that how John navigated with the bank?
Yeah, that's how he got into banking.
So he asked him, how could he get as rich as they were?
As rich as him. He said, you got a fancy car. He said, and he showed up to school with a crushed velvet 3-piece suit on with a bow tie. and this, because he started asking questions. And I was explaining to my wife, I was a Y kid, not that YMCA. I was always, why this that way? Why I gotta do this? Why I gotta do that? I always question stuff. It used to drive my mom and them crazy, my whole family. And I was always curious about stuff, and I would ask a ton of questions. And I got a lot of shut up boys, but that didn't stop me, because I wanted to know. If you're going to tell me something, I want to understand it. Why are you telling me this? And what does it mean for me? Too many of us don't question things off rip. We just go along to get along. And oftentimes that's to our detriment. And kids are taught this. A lot of these kids are, man, you sit and talk to kids like from 7 to 12 sometimes. Just sit there and talk to them. and you hear their hopes and their dreams, because they have them.
You're right.
But-
You're right.
but-
You're
But
right.
we've created a system that mutes those dreams, that kills those dreams.
But again, that is what makes the difference between those who excel and those who don't. You got to recognize when to jump in and when to be aggressive about getting your arms around your own dreams, which I'm going to do right now. Miss Wynn, we're at 6:44. Tell me, what if you just wanted to summarize, where do we go from here as we talked about John Hope Bryant? What would you recommend? You got 30 seconds, by the way.
Oh,
You better talk.
Write it down. Have a vision. Write it down. Do a vision board on where you see yourself. It doesn't have to be 10 years, and actually it could be 6 months. You don't have to make it big, but have a plan, put it into play. Like Doc say, write it down and let it come to fruition.
And you know what? I'm gonna close us out by telling you that is.
Wait, I got something.
That is the best advice you could ever.
This is what I
give a
want to
person,
say.
because
This is what I
you're
want to
reducing
say.
something to right.
This is what I want to say. Give me an inch of a second. This is this is my blueprint. I go find people doing what I want to do and ask them to mentor me. And I don't stop till I find somebody to mentor me in that area.
Well, that means you got to put in the work. Hey, for those of you who tuned in to Sit Down, we're here every Monday at 6 o'clock, and normally we're here from 6 to 6:45 if I can help it. But hey, look, tune in next week. And if you have a program or if it's something
They be
that is
talking
going to
over
make
me.
people better, hey, please engage us, because we love to have you on the show. Hey, until next week, tune in to the Sit Down.
They be doing me wrong, y'all.